Well, an Australian spy novel author who went missing in China at the weekend is reportedly safe. There were fears Dr Yang Hengjun had been taken by the secret police, but he now says he was sick and that his phone wasn't working. But some of his friends have told our correspondent that he's still being held by authorities and they believe he'll be released as a face-saving exercise ahead of Prime Minister Julia Gillard's visit to China next month. Well, our China correspondent Stephen McDonell joins us now from Beijing. Stephen, is it clear yet whether Dr Yang is free or whether he's still being held by the secret police?
Well, no, it's not clear. We're getting this most strange reports coming in from his friends who've been making contact with him. Basically, he's saying to them stuff like, I'm okay, I'm sick and my phone's gone dead and that's why I've been out of contact, and then they're not able to make contact with him again. So we really don't know tonight where he is or what's become of him.
Do his friends believe or suspect that he's been under some duress when he's been making these phone calls?
Well, when I spoke to one of his friends, he says he's extremely worried about this. He says that this is, a particularly good friend of his who's been missing for days, and he described this as a 4-sentence conversation. So imagine he rings up and he said to him, 4 sentences, I'm sick, there's been a misunderstanding, have you blogged about me? Don't worry, I'll explain all of this in a few days, and then hangs up. He said his voice sounded very strange, and he told me he doesn't believe that he's sick. So it seems pretty unusual, to tell the truth.
Stephen, there was some suggestion that he's been using some sort of coded language in these conversations to indicate things aren't quite as they seem.
Yeah, apparently so. He reportedly initially mentioned that he'd been tailed using some sort of code, and this was understood to mean, whatever the words were, the secret police are following me. And so then, when he's gone missing, well, obviously all his friends and relatives thought, well, because he's been writing certain things, that's why he's gone missing.
So what drew, or what would have drawn, the authorities' attention to him in the first place? And, we say he is an Australian citizen, but he's apparently been living half his time in Guangzhou and half his time in Sydney. Is that correct? So is it possible the secret police didn't even know he was an Australian citizen?
It's absolutely possible because, these people, I suppose they just operate by one standard. If someone does certain things that appear to be threatening the rule of the party, they kind of know only one way to act. And here he is, as you mentioned, he lives half in Guangzhou, half in Australia, and although he's known as a novelist, he's also a blogger. And he's written this blog which details people being picked up, human rights abuses and this sort of thing. So he's already on their radar. And then, of course, he goes missing. Well, there's only one suspicion as to why this might be. Now, imagine they've grabbed him and he pulls out his Australian passport. Well, certain Chinese secret police types might think, well, that's not going to help you. I'm sorry, as far as we're concerned, you're Chinese. You're living and working here at least half the time and you're writing about our system. So, that's not going to cut the mustard with us. We're not just going to let you go. And in some ways, initially, it might not have worked in his favour because they might potentially have even seen him as a bit of a troublemaker, even worse than a normal Chinese citizen.
Stephen, we're nearly out of time, but a quick answer on this. What's the Australian embassy saying? Are they keeping quiet because they hope this will go away, that he'll be released?
Well, the speculation amongst some of his friends is that he's been offered some sort of a deal whereby he says he's sick and then they'll let him go, and in that way the Chinese authorities can have a face-saving option before Prime Minister Julia Gillard gets here. Now, I can imagine why Australian local authorities here might not want to jeopardise him being released. Certainly, they're not going to come out and say it's not true, that he's not really sick. He's been held by the secret police, so they haven't been saying very much at all.
All right, Stephen, hopefully we'll know more about this tomorrow, and hopefully he's safe, in fact. Thank you very much.